All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. We're here in New Brunswick today, and we're doing something a little bit different. So we have Jack Molinar. Jack, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So we're in New Brunswick, and we're taking a ride. We're doing a ride along here.
Yeah,
with Ride.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about that. So actually, let's do this first. Let's introduce you and your title. So you are the...
Supervising Transportation Planner for Middlesex County.
Okay, awesome. So talk to me a little bit about what we're doing today and this new project that New Brunswick's been working on.
Yeah, this is Ride on Demand. It's flexible public transit. It's something that has been used in a couple cities around the country. It's been used in Jersey City, and Middlesex County wanted to try this out.
Yeah.
I wanted to try something a little bit flexible,
Sure.
Obviously flexible public transit, because fixed routes can only do so well. And the stops are, if you don't have a high enough density, it's hard to do fixed route transit.
Right.
And that's why you do see a lot of buses with empty seats, because the densities are just not there.
Yeah.
And this is a way now, because of the technology and the apps, that you can do a better transit system that's flexible.
Right. And talk to me about kind of the impetus behind this, because I mean, we had Chris Palladino and the Helix project on the show, and there's a lot of stuff happening in New Brunswick right now.
Absolutely.
And obviously you said fixed routes, different things like that, buses, rails, different things. So talk to me about the decision to bring something like this into the public transportation Rolodex, basically.
Yeah, so Middlesex County, they've had fixed routes, and COVID upended every fixed route and stopped a lot of fixed routes. And the fixed routes that was really serving, that was a county route, never got reinstituted. It was, and really, if you look at the city of New Brunswick, you have to really look at what happens. The Northeast Corridor, which everyone knows, the rail line goes through New Brunswick.
Yeah.
What people don't realize is that a lot of people live on the eastern side of the city, and the rail line cuts about a 2-mile section where you can't either walk or bike or even drive to the west side, where there's a supermarket, where there's social services, where the high school is. So essentially, the Northeast Corridor has always historically cut off one side from the other.
Right.
The route that we used to have used to serve both sides and get people there, but it didn't run that frequently. The stops weren't great. People didn't even realize it was there.
Yeah.
And this really connects both sides of the city.
Yeah.
And that's what's kind of cool.
For sure. And so talk to me a little bit, this is still relatively new, right, for New Brunswick?
Yes, this is, it's only been operating for a month. We started a fair on March 13th, and our ridership has been increasing. We're averaging over 100 rides on a weekday. It's 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., and
Right.
we even run on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome. Yeah, and when you were showing me the heat map before, it's just New Brunswick.
It's right now, this is a pilot. It's just the city of New Brunswick.
Right.
It's something that we're watching the data. We're seeing how it's working. Is it something that we want to continue doing? Is this a good way to provide transit for New Brunswick in this kind of density? And we're working with our vendor as well to see how they're doing, and then we'll look to see if it can be expanded or where else in Middlesex County it could be used. And that's why we're really following it closely.
Right. Yeah. Let's get you clipped in there too. Sorry.
No, you're good.
That's my bad. Okay. So talk to me. Take me through. You have this ride system, and how does it work? How does someone order a ride?
Oh, it's very simple. If anyone's ever used Uber or Lyft, it really feels like the same thing.
Yeah.
You download an app, you put in your credit card or wherever you're going to pay on the online feature, and you then request a ride. The system tells you where to go to get it. This is not, unlike Uber and Lyft, it's not a door-to-door. It's called corner-to-corner.
Okay.
So it's a flexible public transit, and you pay $3 for the ride. If you have two friends that want to go with you, each person has to pay $3.
Okay.
It's not just $3 for the three of you.
Sure.
Because it's a public transit.
Yeah. But I think we were talking about before we got when we were getting mic'd up and getting ready and all that kind of stuff. We were talking about. I was like, can people still use Uber and Lyft and different things?
Oh, absolutely.
They can.
Yeah.
It still exists here,
Yeah.
but it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, Uber and Lyft are more expensive.
Right.
And this is a funded public transit, just like a county route, but it's a more flexible bus route.
Yeah.
It's really what it is. And that's really the biggest hurdle for people to understand, because they're used to using Uber and Lyft. And they're like, why isn't it getting me from door to door?
Right.
And I want it from door to door. And there's also a limit of how far. If it's a walkable trip, if someone wanted to go from the train station to the State Theater, that's not what RIDE is for.
Yeah.
That's 2 blocks.
Sure.
We want people to walk that because this is a public transit system.
Right.
That is just happens to be flexible.
Yeah. And so also when we're like learning about these, like we're in a minivan essentially right now.
Yeah.
It's handicap accessible, so we know that, which is important.
Yes.
Are all the cars in the fleet like this, and how many cars do you have right now?
I'm not sure exactly how many are in the fleet right now,
Okay.
and it expands. Not each one is handicap accessible. We're not getting a lot of requests for that.
Sure.
And what they do is, if they need more of that, they'll expand the fleet that will have more capable of those. But they're all vans. I think there's 4 or 5 right now.
Okay.
And really, they scale up and down based on demand.
Right.
And so that's what's kind of good too, is using a vendor, is that it works with, whereas in the public sector, we would always, we're going to buy this many. If the demand goes up, we have to wait a year to get it.
Yeah.
A private company can scale up pretty quickly.
Right. And that's what this is, right? This is partnered with
It's a contract service.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is that New Jersey Transit contract service all the time. A lot of their bus routes are operated by private companies. They're not in New Jersey Transit, even though it says New Jersey Transit on it.
Right.
So this is a private company that the county partnered with, and that's the benefit, is that they can scale up and scale down based on working with us and do it pretty quickly.
Right, and so like we said, it's about a month old. This service, and what is kind of the main, I don't want to say goal, because obviously it's to get people around, right? But is there like a vision in place as this kind of continues to progress? You kind of like work out the kinks, the bugs, whatever, and get it to a point where, what's the point that you're hoping to have like the most success?
Well, what we want to do is, there are people that are transit dependent and don't own a car. And we want to be people to live in New Brunswick and not own a car and be able to get around and do things. That's kind of really what the Helix is all about too, is people being able to live sustainable.
Right.
So that is one of the overall mission of all transit, is to get people to walk, bike, and use transit and leave their car at home and minimize the traffic, because this is a city, it's a growing city.
Yeah.
So that's really a goal. That's what we're looking at, and that's why we'll look at more areas in Middlesex County that this kind of transit will help people move around without having to buy a car and other modes of transportation that might not be as sustainable and create more traffic.
Yeah, and so I think it's really interesting too, because we mentioned before about how much New Brunswick is growing, and like how fast it's growing as well, and to be able to kind of like keep up with the demand of what you're talking about, of people being able to get around the city without actually having to get a car, because it's hard to have a car in the city.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's hard to park. You're in traffic.
Yeah.
I myself own my own little electric scooter.
Okay.
And
I really want an electric scooter, personally. That's just me.
It's fun. Yeah. And I commute here to downtown New Brunswick from Highland Park, and I pass going home about 40 cars.
Yeah.
Because they're all in traffic leaving.
Right.
So we want more and more people to use other modes of transportation.
Yeah.
And using this mode is really just amazing how flexible it is, and how many rides we're getting, and how many different people are using it in a way that's safe to get around.
Right.
There's safety involved in this, instead of just maybe they don't feel safe walking at certain places. Sometimes the streets don't have great sidewalks.
Yeah.
So this is a good mode to help people get around safely.
Yeah. And I think as we kind of progress through this, and we're driving around here, I think having something like this is really important, like we said before, and I think it's a really cool way that the city is trying to keep pace with how many cool things are happening, and being able to give access to those cool things. So before we can kind of continue, did we hit all the stuff that we said we were going to hit?
I think so.
How do you download it?
Oh, good call. Thank you. So, see, that's why you're here. So I always going to have somebody else. Okay, so this is an app-based service, right? So you said it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Works similar to Uber, similar to Lyft.
You can call in.
Okay.
There are certain people, about 95% of the people use the app.
Okay.
There is an option where if you don't have any of that technology, and you can't do it, there is an option where you can call into a place and they can schedule a ride that way.
Gotcha. And so it's available on all the major platforms, right? iOS,
Android,
Google,
Android, Apple, they're the Play Store, it all has it.
Yeah. Okay, so they download the the app, they're ready to use it. What are times that they can access these?
Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And then on the weekends, we actually are doing weekend service,
Great.
9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not necessarily door to door, but corner to corner. And right now is just like the corners you're going to essentially are just in New Brunswick, right?
Yes, the whole zone it's only New Brunswick right now. That's our pilot, and it will tell you what corner to get to, so you could have it an easy place to get picked up.
Yeah.
So and it's a safer place to get picked up. Typically.
Right. And is it eventually, like, I know we talked about like goals before, but is there kind of I mean, you said pilot, but a goal to kind of expand this beyond New Brunswick as well?
It's possible. That's why we're looking at it to see. First of all, we want to make sure it works here.
Right.
And as long as it's successful here, and we find right now it is.
Yeah.
It's doing really well for just 4 weeks. We'll look at other areas in the county that could benefit from a service like this.
Yeah, awesome. And so let's hit them with the highlights as we kind of progress through this, kind of like a mini dock ride along. So it's $3 a ride.
Yes.
Get it on the app.
Yes.
We hit the hours before. And like, what are some things? Is there anything else that you want people to know about the ride system?
It's probably the most flexible way to get around New Brunswick is using this. This is the safest. It's the cheapest way to get around.
Yeah. Awesome. So Fabian, right?
Yes.
All right. So you've been driving for the whole first month of this project here?
Since inception, yes.
Since inception. So talk to me a little bit about your experience too. Like, how's it been as a driver for this service?
Well, I've seen a few customers who are actually enjoying this platform.
Yeah.
Because basically it is convenient.
Yeah.
And you get that feedback from them quite a lot. That it is, the convenience of it is really there.
This has been a good experience for me. Usually I don't even like sitting in the back seat of a car because it makes the car sick. But here we are, and we're doing it, and it's great. So great job. But no, like I said, I think that this is like a really cool thing for New Brunswick, for the city, and definitely needed because, you know, as the city, like I said, continues to grow, you need to be able to get people around.
One of the cooler things that it does, the biggest supermarket in New Brunswick is on the west side of the city that is cut off from the east side.
Oh, that's key.
So it really helps with people with their budgets.
Yeah.
Is that even paying, say, round trip would be $6, they could still save money by going to the Aldi on Route 27 from the other side of the city instead of just going to the small convenience stores that the prices might be higher.
Right. Okay, great. So like if people they've listened to this episode, they've watched this episode, and they want to learn more about this program, more about how to access it, even though we pretty much covered everything that you could possibly know about this program in this ride, where would you kind of direct them to go to learn more?
Search for Ride Middlesex County, and you'll find the website, and you'll be able to download the app.
Awesome.
Sorry, the website's actually there if you want to look at the paper. It's middlesexcountynj.gov/ride.
Search for Ride Middlesex County. You don't have to worry about learning a website. Just search for that on the internet, and you'll find it.
Yeah, and we'll put the links and everything like that in the show notes.
The college students are enjoying it as well.
Oh, college students. Yeah. I think you said that there was like a lot of.
There's a lot of Rutgers students, and there also you're getting a lot of high school students
and this middle school here.
Yeah,
and we're seeing a lot of rides for that.
Yeah, which is great. You know, get kids to school.
So that's something we're watching to see how much that's used by the schools. So we're looking at that. Perth Amboy is an area that we're looking at because they're building a new high school that's on the outskirts of Perth Amboy.
Yeah,
on the other side of 35, which is separate from the rest of the city, kind of because they built a brand. They're building a brand like New Brunswick did.
Yeah.
So there's transportation issues.
Yeah, for sure.
This is meeting some of the transportation issues now for New Brunswick. So that's kind of cool to see how people are really using it.
Right. And like we were saying before we got on camera about how, like, you know, this is state funded, right?
County funded.
County funded. That's what I meant. County funded. And, you know, just like kind of services provided by the county to help people get around
and
live a normal life.
And do it without owning a car.
And have access to everything without owning a car, which is awesome. So, like I said, we'll put the links in the show notes so people can click it, check it out. We'll put the links to download the apps in the show notes as well, so people can go click those. I mean, I really appreciate you jumping in here with us and chatting with us and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And Fabian, thank you for driving us around today.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, it's awesome. And thank you, Ariana, for holding the second camera. It's like the first time I ever had somebody else hold a camera for me on one of these episodes, so it's much appreciated. But so again, we were in New Brunswick today. We were talking about the ride on demand system here in New Brunswick. Download the app, take a ride, $3, corner to corner, have access to everything that you need to do in New Brunswick without actually owning a car, which I think is really great. So, Jack Molinar, thank you so much for joining with us today and for the ride.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.